Before we start this video, a large thank you to Optimus24, Renfield Studios, Tommy Zhao, and Kyle Haddad for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. And an immense thank you to Halo Burner and Humberto for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hello everybody, today we're going to take a quick break from slope sliding because I totally forgot we had to do part 2. And I went ahead and recorded this video, and we're going to do dual wielding. So basically, you can see here in our offhand melee action, this is a script by the way, we have, why do we call it an offhand melee action? And the answer is because later we're going to add dual wielding functionality. So let's go ahead and do that right now in this video. What we're going to do is delete this comment because we no longer need it. And I'm going to check my Nephilim code here, and I'm just going to basically write down what I have over here because this system is going to work identical pretty much in our project as it does in Nephilim. So header attack animations, and what we're going to do is put basically all the dual wielding attack animations that we have right now. So we have light attack. Well, technically there is no light attack, it's just a standard attack because there are no light or heavy variations for dual wielding. It's just the one set. So we have the standard attack 1 and 2. We have the jumping, running, backstepping, and I feel like I'm forgetting rolling. So as you want to, just add these up here, call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine dual wield attack 01 and dual wield attack 02 for our standard attacks. So if you guys remember how we did the standard and the two-handed attacks, this is going to work very similar. And if you want to pause the video right now and go ahead and attempt this on your own, I highly encourage you to go do that because it's not much different and I'm certain you can figure it out, especially if you made it this far in the series. So go ahead and pause that right now if you want to go and try that on your own and then come back and check back with me after if you just want to compare and see what I got done. So we're going to say if the player performing the action .player network manager is using left hand and we're not two-handing a weapon, this is important too, then we're going to go ahead and try to attempt to do a dual wielding action. Now we can make a function for this so we don't have all the code in one place, which would be a lot neater. So we could say if player performing the action, player inventory manager, and we're going to compare our main hand weapon and our offhand weapon, and we're going to compare the item class or the weapon class. So basically, if those weapon classes are the same, then we know we can perform a dual wield action because in Souls 2 and Elden Ring, I think in Souls 2 as well, I'm actually not so familiar with that game as I am with 1 and 3. The only way you can perform a power stance attack or a dual wielding attack is if your main hand weapon and your offhand weapon have the same weapon class. So for example, if I'm holding 2 straight swords, I can do this, but if I'm holding a straight sword and a dagger, I can't do this. So let's go ahead now and make a function to override. And I'm just going to call this private void. We can call it perform power stance action. Let's just say perform power stance left hand action because the offhand action here is occurring on your offhand weapon. And you're trying to do normally a block, but if you're holding to the same weapon, then we're going to default to this. So make this require a player performing action. Just like usual, and make it require a weapon performing action just like usual. And we're going to just basically do the same thing we do anywhere else, but we're going to set this up for dual wielding. So the first thing we're going to do is check our stamina, and if it is less than or equal to 0, simply return because we cannot perform any kind of action if our stamina is empty. And next, we can just go ahead and call this function up here and then call return after it because if you're doing a dual wielding attack action, you don't want to go ahead and run the block logic too. That wouldn't make any sense. So just simply put a return after that perform power stance action. And now we can just kind of go through all the attacks like we did in our main hand and two-hand light attack actions and heavy attack actions and what have you. You can just basically do a check for each of these. And if you remember, we're supposed to start with the aerial attack because that requires you to not be in the air and will take priority over, or that requires you to be in the air rather, not be grounded. And that will take priority over any other attack. So we're going to say if the player performing the action is not grounded, then we want to basically go ahead and attempt to do this logic. So we're going to perform the dual wielding jumping attack. And I should probably move this above the check for not grounded, not inside here. I'll do that in a moment. So what else do we need to do inside this check? Well, we need to say if player performing action is actually already performing action, return. Now, we're putting this check in here because later on, you want to make sure you're already performing an action when you want to do a combo. So think of these, whatever's underneath this comment, think of this as its own individual attack. And if it helps you, you can make it its own individual function, so it's even a bit more clean. But if we're not grounded and we're not performing an action, and I'm just going to put an isOwner check here because I can't remember if we call these via server RPCs. I get this project and my project mixed up sometimes. This might not even need this, but I'm going to check for isOwner. And if we are the owner, I'm going to basically just call an animation. And we're going to play an animation, which is going to be our jumping attack animation. So we're going to say player performing action, player animator manager, play target attack animation. And we're going to pass the weapon performing action. We're going to pass the attack type. And I don't think we have these set up for dual wield yet. And no, we don't. So I'm going to quickly do that. Let's jump over to our enums. And let's set these up real fast. So right click, go to whatever this is, and then just go to the attack type here and add to the attack type enum dual attack 01, dual attack 02. And I'm just going to quickly glance at these other attacks here. So we don't have a charge, that doesn't exist, but we do have a jump attack, and we do have a rolling and backstepping and running attack. So if in your project somehow you're adding light and heavy variations for the dual wielding attacks, you can go ahead and add those, but because of the way the buttons are set up here, we're only going to use a standard variation of these, and they're going to be dual attack 1, 2, jump attack, run attack, roll attack, and backstep attack. Now, we also need to apply these modifiers at some point in our code base as well for draining stamina and calculating damage, but we'll come back to that. For now, let's just set up all the animations. So we're going to say the attack type is dual jump attack, and we are going to be performing an action, but let's make a local variable for this here because I did not do that yet. Dual wield jump attack 01, and then we can just copy the name of this variable here, not the string itself, and paste that as the string required to play our animation. So if I go back over here, I'm just going to put this right here, and then I'm going to say true because we are performing an action. Now, do this basically for every other attack. And again, if you know how to do this, pause the video and go ahead and do it yourself, or maybe you already have it done because you already paused. But if not, I'm going to continue, and I will go through all these. We're going to simply return after we do this because if we're not grounded, the only thing we should be attempting is a jumping attack. And if we've met the circumstances for that and can or can't do it, we need to simply return. We don't want to try to do any other attack afterwards. Now, if the player is jumping past this point, return. We can't do any other attack. The only valid attack in the air is a jumping attack. Okay, what if we're not jumping and we are grounded? Well, then we're going to go and check for a rolling attack. Now, if the player can perform a rolling attack, return, because we're going to attempt this or we're not going to attempt this, but either way, this will take precedent and there should be no other attack that can be performed. We're going to say player performing action, player combat manager can perform rolling attack is equal to false, and then we're going to simply do a check for isOwner, and we're going to say if player performing action is owner, we're going to play the animation and send the attack type, which is going to be in this circumstance rolling attack. And again, I don't have a local variable, so I will need to make one, but we just do the same thing that we did above. So we're going to say in the weapon performing action, make sure you call upon play target attack action animation, not just player target action animation like I've done right here. And then set up your variable and do the same thing. And of course, is performing action is going to be set to true for all of these. So we're going to pass the local variable here, dual wield roll attack. And it's very easy to accidentally pass run attack here in the enum or any other attack. So just be mindful, double check that, because that will mess with your calculations further down the line for your stamina drain and your damage, etc. All right, I am going to quickly just make the rest of these before I move on, so I have to keep coming back up here and doing this. So we have backstep, and we're going to have run as well. So dual wield backstep attack 01 is dual wield backstep attack 01, and dual wield run attack 01 is dual wield run attack 01. And now we can basically just copy this can perform rolling attack verbatim and change the keyword here rolling to backstepping, because we handle backstep attacks the exact same way, if you remember that. It's been quite a while now since we've covered those, for sure. But nonetheless, they are handled the exact same way. So we're going to pass attack type, dual backstep attack, and then we're going to pass the dual wield backstep attack string variable for the animation name. Next is the sprinting attack, which you can paste again, but needs even less checks or logic. So I'm just going to copy all of this here, paste this. We're going to check for if the player is sprinting via the player network manager. And if we are sprinting, we're not going to disable the sprinting bool. That will happen by default. We're just going to play the sprinting attack animation, so you can delete this this checker that disables a flag, and pass the attack type run attack, and then pass the string for dual wield run attack 01. Cool. Now, all we have left are the standard attacks, which come to the lowest priority. So these happen if no other check is passed. Now, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to simply first check if we basically are performing an offhand combo, or can rather. And you can see here this doesn't exist, but I think we made some pseudocodes. Let's go check that. This is going to be in the player combat manager. Let's just jump over there real fast. And yeah, we did in the past, so uncomment this out if you have a commenter like me. And then go down to your, it should be enable and disable combo functions. You should see this here as well. Yes, so there's actually no code here for it. It says enable offhand combo. Let's copy and paste this if we're using the left hand and change main hand to offhand. And then again, under disable can do combo, yep, I already have it commented out, very good. Uncomment that out or write it if you don't have it. And we're good to keep on going. We can go back to the offhand weapon action script and we can simply check right here for can perform offhand combo, or can combo with offhand depending on what you have in your project. And if a player is also performing an action, we know that we're already in the middle of an attack. And if we are already in the middle of the attack and we can combo, we want to check which attack we're doing, and we're going to set can combo to false, and we're going to perform the other attack in that combo chain. So for example, if my player performing action, player combat manager last attack is equal to the dual wield attack 01, then we know we need to perform the dual wield attack 02. If the last attack is dual wield attack 02, we know we need to perform the dual wield attack 01. And finally, if this is your first time entering a combo chain and your attacks are neither of those, then we are going to simply default to the dual wield attack 01, which is the first attack in the combo chain. So again, don't be like me, don't forget to put in your attack type. This one is attack type dual wield attack 02 because we're checking for 01. And if it is 01 that we played last, we're going to play attack 02. Likewise down here, if the last attack we played is attack 02, we are going to play dual wield attack 01. And as I said just a few moments ago, if it's neither of these, then this is the first attack in the chain anyway, so of course we'll play 01. And now, if you are not able to combo, and you are not performing an action, likewise, this will also be the first entry in the chain. So then you're just going to call on dual attack 01. So we can see here if we are able to combo and are performing action. Otherwise, if we are not able to combo and we are not performing an action, we can just play dual wield attack 01. Future step here. I forgot to check for if his owner when playing all these play target action animations, but upon reviewing the code, it does not matter. Okay, let's save that. Now we can drag in our animations. I'm just going to drag in all mine. And again, I'll fast forward this because you guys have seen me set up these like 1,000 times. You know how this works. You can even copy your two-handed or main-handed setup and just rename them and then drop in the proper animations. So I'm going to quickly drag these in and I'm going to rename them. I'll do most of these off video and I'll snap back in a second. But I am using the straight sword animation set, which is available on our asset shop. You can also get the spear dual wielding or the mace dual wielding. Those are all available too. The ultra great sword. Basically, a bunch of animations, but you can also find your own. You don't need to use ours. Also, do not forget to set up your animation events, but there's going to be something that's a little bit different here. You can see here we have open damage collider. We're not using this on the dual wielding animations. We're using two new functions for opening and closing individual colliders. So copy and paste these. These are on your player equipment manager. And instead of open damage collider, call it open main hand damage collider and close main hand damage collider. And as the title of the function suggests, we're going to want to open and close each damage collider that matches the name. So the main hand is going to be our right hand weapon, and the offhand is going to be our offhand weapon. So create this function again, copy and paste the main hand, and we're going to change main to off. And then just do the inverse. So instead of the right weapon, we're going to do the left weapon. And we're going to call these functions on any dual wielding attack animations because obviously you have two different weapons in your hands and the damage colliders might not be open at the same time. Okay, looks good. So when that's done, you save that and make sure your naming conventions are all good. Make sure you're checking for the right and left weapon. It's easy to miss that here, and this will be a good place to make sure it's right. Otherwise, you're going to be opening the wrong collider. Alright, now we can call these functions on your animation events, and I'm going to definitely do this off video because this is going to take me a little while to set up, because you know what, I could just copy these from Nephilim actually. I think the names are relatively the same. I think I got a couple extra animation events in Nephilim for particle effects and whatnot, but anyway, you can see here, this is you can see my left hand in this character, or his offhand opens first. So if I were to do this right there, it's about where it's going to open. I would right click or add an animation event and paste the name here, open offhand damage collider, right? Just like that. And I look for it to close, and it closes, I'd say, about right there. You could say when that's the extent of the extension. Make another animation event, close offhand damage collider, and save that. But yes, I'm going to do this off video. I will be right back. Okay, that's all done. Now let's go ahead and add our modifiers. So go to your weapon item here. You can see you have attack modifiers. Give dual wielding attacks their own modifiers. And obviously, you don't just want to give it the standard damage of a single attack, because that's a bit unrealistic unless you're very proficient in dual wielding, I suppose. You can make each attack just as devastating as if you're holding it with one hand. But for balance issues also, unless you want to, Elden Ring and other games make it so basically the modifiers here are lower, but that's not bad because you're swinging with two weapons. So if I'm swinging with a light attack modifier, I have a 1.0 modifier. If I'm swinging with a dual attack 01 light attack modifier, or sorry, just a dual attack 01, I'm going to give a 0.77, which actually ends up being 7 plus 7 is 1.4, plus another 7 is 1.54. So you're getting 54% more damage than a standard light attack 01 modifier, basically. So you could even lower that more if you wanted to, or you could raise it. It all depends on how you want your game to feel, but just keep in mind these modifiers are going to be applied twice because there are two weapons. So do the same thing for run, jump, roll, and backstep modifiers, like so. And I'm going to keep the stamina modifiers the same. Why? Because we're going to call the stamina attacks, but we're just going to call them twice. So the drain stamina animation event, I'm going to call it for each time my hands are swinging. So in dual attack animations, they'll be called twice. So if I go over here, you can see, here we go. I got a bunch of these here. Well, I can copy these here and paste them and make cases for dual wielding because I have to. Otherwise, I won't lose any stamina. But instead of calling its own stamina modifier, you can make your own stamina modifier if you want to. That's entirely up to you. If you want to make it require a little bit less stamina than standard light attack, but apply it twice. But I'm just going to make it require the same amount of stamina as light attack, but it's still going to be applied twice. So the trade-off for dual wielding is you get about 50 to 60% more damage in one swing, but you're losing double the stamina. And I think that's a pretty good balance. Also, you can't block, obviously. So dual wield attack 1 and dual wield attack 2 will use the light stamina modifiers. Likewise, the rolling, backstepping, running attacks will use the rolling, backstepping, running attack modifiers. And I'll fast forward here in a second real quick through the magic of editing. And then I'm going to basically, instead of calling drain stamina based on attack once, I'm going to call it twice. That's it. So we're going to call it 2 times per animation. Now go to your weapon attack modifiers here on the melee weapon damage collider. And you can see here, we need to take these modifiers off our new weapon that we just made and paste them on the melee weapon damage collider like that. Make their default value 0, obviously. And now the last step in the video is to actually call these and sync them on the weapon manager, and then apply the proper damage modifications based on the attack type. So go now to your weapon manager. Just going to double check this, make sure it's all good. Yes. And just paste this here. And again, through the magic of editing, I will fast forward in a moment. I'll just show you. I'm just going to paste these variables here, and boom, there they go. They are all done. So you're just syncing these with your weapon, just like you've done before in the past. So the dual wield attack 01 modifier becomes whatever is on your weapon. The dual wield attack 02 modifier becomes the dual wield attack 02 modifier on your weapon. And now the last step is to go down here under damage target and apply these proper modifiers. So case attack type, backstep attack 01, becomes dual wielding backstep attack. Light attack 01 becomes dual attack 01, and just copy and paste what you have and change it, and make sure you put in the proper modifiers. So dual attack 01 gets dual wielding modifier 01. And now if I go into the game here, you can see, there we go. It is working as intended. I can dual wield, I can combo. I'm just going to do a couple of attacks here to make sure. If I take a step back here and I sprint, that's the running attack. If I roll, that is the rolling attack. That rolling attack looks very cool. But there you go, guys. We have dual wielding attacks now. I actually can't believe I waited this long to do this. I kind of forgot that I didn't do it back when we were doing all the attacks in that close period of time. So I hope you learned something new. Thank you for joining me again this weekend. I hope you all have a very lovely weekend. And as always, an immense thank you to my patrons. It is because of each and every one of you that I get to publish content like this. So you have my sincerest gratitude. Thank you to all the people who take the time to like and comment in the videos and share my stuff online. Seriously, you are very appreciated. I appreciate you all so much. Okay, guys, that is it for me. I will see you next week. Have a good weekend.